Alright, y'all, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Super Bowl 56 halftime show. Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid, and I'm back again with another episode of On the Bright Side TV. Welcome back. How you doing? Hope you're doing very well. Listen, y'all, I had to get up on this camera and talk about the Super Bowl 56 halftime show because I just had to. Let's get into it, y'all. First off, hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day. Whether you bait up or you single, it don't matter. Love up on your person, love up on yourself. Hope you guys had a great, post Super Bowl, Valentine's Day week. And also, if you checked out the Anthony Hamilton and Musiq Soulchild versus, which happened last night, I'll definitely have a video coming for that soon, so watch out for that. But hope you guys enjoyed that. It's been a pretty chill week, post Super Bowl, during Valentine's Day. It's been a cool week so far. But yeah, man, listen, shout out to the actual game itself. Shout out to the Bengals and the Rams. The Rams definitely fought hard. Those guys fought hard and to pull out the win. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Bengals too. But yeah, that was a good game. Definitely appreciate how it turned out because I had a feeling the Rams would take it. So shout out to the Rams for taking it in the end, and shout out to LA for the victory. Y'all got that. But yeah, man, months ago they announced Dr. Dre along with the supporting cast of Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and then they announced also Mary J. Blige and Kendrick Lamar as well. And I remember as soon as they announced it, I was like, oh, that's a crazy lineup. But then again, I was like, how they gonna make it work? Like, that's a lot of names, that's a lot of icons, that's a lot of legends in one space. Like, how they gonna make it work? How's it gonna flow? Like, is it gonna be good or not? I was kind of iffy on it. And I feel like a lot of people felt that same way because I feel like there wasn't a lot of hype going into the halftime show. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like compared to usually, like there wasn't as much hype as I feel like there usually is for the Super Bowl halftime show. Maybe that's just me, but so I didn't really know what to think about the show before it came on, but I was still ready to see what happens. And then, listen, y'all, I was just chilling watching the game in my crib, and then they started that halftime show, and from beginning to end, I was like, yes, y'all did that. The show wasn't perfect, the halftime wasn't perfect, it wasn't like, it wasn't flawless, but pretty much through and through, I enjoyed myself, I love the vibes, hits on hits on hits, great performance, energy, just, all around was just a great time. I enjoyed myself, I love the vibes of it. So let's get into it, let me review for y'all. But yeah, man, I really loved it, and I feel like they pulled it off very well. It wasn't perfect, like I said, but I think they pulled it off very well, so let's get into it. First off, Dr. Dre started off the whole shebang, coming off of like this structure, like how they do in award shows. He like came out like a riser. Low-key, I want to point out the fact that for me, it was such a weird start to the show because Dr. Dre was trying to get his mic pack together. And like, you could see it, like he was trying to get his mic pack together and it was so distracting. I feel like it was throwing the vibes off. I wasn't like mad at him because that shit happens all the time, technical issues happens all the time, but I feel like it was throwing the vibes off a little bit. But it only happened for like a few seconds, so that was fine. And then he came up and like was like, yo, I'm Dre, what's up? And then he got into performing the next episode with Snoop, who came out right after he did. Snoop came out in this like all blue, repping for Crip, like this all blue, like sweatsuit vibe that I thought was dope with like some yellow accents. That shit was fly as hell. So shout out to Snoop. Snoop came through with energy, and allegedly Snoop smoked up blunt before he came on stage. Shocker, no. Yeah, so they did the next episode, lit. And then after that, they went into California Love, and I like how they transitioned it to California Love. That shit will never get old. That song is classic. Yeah, so they did the California Love remix. Tupac was not involved. I know there was mad rumors of like the Tupac hologram happening, but I'm kind of glad that never happened. I don't really know how that rumor started. I don't know if they were actually working on that, but I don't know if I would have loved a Tupac hologram. I don't know if I would have been a big fan of that. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But yeah, no Tupac was there. But yeah, it was just Dre and Snoop holding it down for California Love. Loved it, they killed it. And then after Dre and Snoop did California Love, they both like pointed down below them, and then the camera panned to like 50 Cent hanging like he was in an In the Club video. Iconic, recall to that video, to that time in music history. So they had 50 Cent, who looks a lot different now, no shade, but he still looked good though. 50 Cent was hanging upside down. I bet he was over. I bet his head, I bet you all the blood in 50 Cent's brain was just running to his head, and I bet you he was over it. But he still sounded good. He still he still performed pretty good. So 50 Cent did In the Club with like a bunch of dancers around him, like in the middle part of like the 3-part stage they had, like this like 3-part like thing that looked like a combination of like how like a living room, like a house setup, but then also on the other side it looked like a famous like restaurant in LA. I forgot what the name of it was. It was like a burger joint, something like that in LA. Y'all, LA folks, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so 50 Cent was doing In the Club in like the middle part with dancers. It was cool. Yeah, I feel like 50 Cent could have got off many songs, but I'm not mad that it was only In the Club. But yeah, he did In the Club. It was pretty cool. He was like, at some points he sounded like he was a little bit out of breath and all that, but you know, it was fine. Like 50 Cent did a good job. He was cool. Then after 50 Cent did In the Club, we then went right back up to the top of the platforms where we had Mary in the middle, and she came out in them signature thigh-high boots like we wanted and we needed. You know what I'm saying? This Mary J. Blige. What else do we want? What else do we need from Mary J. Blige? Mary J. Blige came out in these like reflective, like shattered glass vibe with the thigh-high boots and, you know, the blouse and the hat and the gloves and all that, looking amazing. The dancers had like a similar outfit. She looked amazing. I just love the outfit, and you could see her from like 10 miles away. It was amazing. So yeah, Mary came out in her thigh-high boots and her hat, like, you know, typical Mary vibes. Performed Family Affair, produced by Dr. Dre. So that was very fitting. Perfect connection. She killed Family Affair. You know, just doing her thing, and then she transitioned from Family Affair to No More Drama, and I really didn't expect No More Drama. I didn't expect that. I really thought if she would do a second song, I thought maybe she would do like Be Without You, if she's gonna do a ballad, or maybe like another up-tempo, or like, you know, Just Fine, or something like, or like Real Love, something like that, you know. But she did No More Drama, and at first I was like, No More Drama for the NFL for the halftime? I thought it was weird at first, but by the time she was done, I was like, nah, actually, I love this selection. I loved it, because like, you know, No More Drama is still to this day one of Mary's best like live shows. Like when she gets to perform live, that's still one of her best songs where she just get in her bag, you know, emotionally, just like, you know, vocally, like that's one of her best songs to perform where she can really get in her bag, you know. So I'm glad she did No More Drama. She killed it. Yo, Mary J. Blige just went into a zone for a little bit, and I got my life. I was anointed. I caught the blessing on a Sunday night. I'm telling you, Mary J. Blige, you know, just growling and screaming, Dry. You know how Mary J. just going, you know, just anointed. You know what I'm saying? So Mary anointed all of us. She gave us, you know, the blessing that we all needed. Mary J, you know, so the dancers played the stage, and then Mary went crazy. No More Drama, just like, you know, I'm tired. No More Drama, just killing it. And then she freaking like fainted. She was like, I'm tired. When Mary fainted, I was weak, but it was everything that I needed. She killed it. To me, that was definitely one of the highlights, one of the climaxes of the whole show. It was just Mary getting into her bag with No More Drama. It was everything unexpected, but I loved how they did it. Then after Mary finished her set, we went to Kendrick, who did a little bit of Good Kid, Mad City. Yeah, man down. Yeah, you classic. And then after he did a little bit of Good Kid, Mad City, then he went into All Right, which I thought was amazing. I'm glad that Kendrick also got 2 songs off as well. I low-key assumed that Kendrick was gonna do Humble, and I feel like that would have been a perfect choice because, you know, it's just a great vibe for the, you know, for the NFL, for Super Bowl. But I'm not mad he did All Right because one, we need those vibes during Black History Month. Oh yeah, happy Black History Month, by the way. We need those vibes during Black History Month. All Right is still one of Kendrick's best and one of my favorite songs by him. And I feel like he made it work. So he did All Right, he killed it. Kendrick's dancers were on point, they killed it. Like when they were like these boxes, and then they moved the boxes, and then they were just killing it. And my thing with Kendrick is, you know, shout out to Snoop, Eminem, you know, 50, Dre. But in terms of the guys who were on the stage that night, no one could touch Kendrick. Because Kendrick just has this energy where he came out, like the way he was just, you know like Kendrick is like, he was moving, like, you know, stiff like this, like just, he just has this energy, like when he comes through, you just have to pay attention and just like zone in, like, because Kendrick just he be in the moment, he be on it, he be zoned in, and you have no choice but to just like pay attention and just to be like witnessing what he's doing. Like Kendrick is just, there's a different air around Kendrick again. He showed that again when he performed right after Mary. It was everything. His energy, his outfit was on point. His energy was on point. The choreography, the blocking, everything was on point with Kendrick. I loved it. He just did his thing. He killed it. Definitely one of the highlights for me, for sure. And then after Kendrick did his set, we then moved to Eminem's side of the stage where he came out of a riser as well, and like the stage shattered for him, like part of the stage shattered. And he did the intro lines to Forgot About Dre, which I thought was perfect, a perfect connection to his set coming in. And after he did the intro lines for Forgot About Dre, then he performed his song Just Lose It, one of his biggest songs. Perfect choice for the Super Bowl halftime. Perfect choice. It was a great performance. Eminem did his thing, and while Eminem was doing Just Lose It, we had Anderson .Paak on drums too, which I loved seeing. Shout out to Anderson .Paak, another one of Dr. Dre's mentees. Anderson .Paak was just killing on the drums, doing his thing like he always does. I didn't know he was gonna be there, so it was such a good surprise to see Anderson .Paak. That was such a good surprise. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was gonna be here, but it obviously makes complete sense. So I'm glad he made it out and did his thing. Love seeing him there. It was perfect. So then yeah, Eminem was doing his thing, performing Just Lose It, got the crowd hype, and then a bunch of dancers like came to and like rushed in and vibed to his set, which I thought was dope. I thought it was a great way to like amp up his performance a lot too. And then after Eminem was doing Just Lose It, he pretty much he took a kneel, which when it first happened, I didn't really understand, I didn't really get what was going on. I was like, why is he kneeling? But then after it finished, I was like, he's kneeling in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick and everybody who's been trying to fight for, racial injustice, in the NFL and beyond. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I was like, all right, Eminem, I didn't know what to think about it at first, but I was like, all right, but I'll talk about that later. But then after Eminem kneeled, pretty much we transitioned to Dr. Dre trying to end out the show with one more song he did. He got on the piano and started doing the little intro notes for Still Dre, the dun, 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 iconic. So we loved that. So Dr. Dre was just there vibing, trying to end the show on a really chill note. But then he got off of the piano and started, once the beat dropped, he stopped performing Still Dre with Snoop, who came back out and ended off the show with Dre doing Still Dre. Perfect way to end the whole halftime show. I love the vibe of it. Him and Dre was just doing their thing at the end. And then as they finishing off the song, you got Mary, 50 Cent, Kendrick, Eminem, and all coming back out to like vibe with them to end off the show and take a bow. And that was pretty much it. And just seeing the image of, Dr. Dre with his mentees, Eminem, 50 Cent, Kendrick, and then you got Mary J. Blige there, you got Snoop Dogg there, like, that was just a great visual to see all that power, all that talent, all that iconicness in one stage, in one place right there. After 10, 15 minutes of them having done their thing, crazy, amazing visual. Amazing. Alright, y'all, so that was pretty much what happened with the show. Now we go through my overall thoughts about the halftime. Y'all, I think overall, I didn't really have many complaints. I thought overall it was a really great show. Like I said before, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't flawless, but I thought it was a pretty great show in terms of, like the artists that they picked and the way it flowed, the way it transitions, the way everything sounded, the way everything looked in terms of, the dancers, the staging, and I just thought it was a really well put together show. It didn't feel like it was like too much or too little. I think the obvious critique that a lot of people have had and that I totally get is that there was way too many artists doing the halftime. And I kind of agree with that because at the end of the day, because there was so many artists doing it and because they were all great, iconic artists that we all love with catalogs for days, hits for days that they all could have performed, it made it kind of feel like we were shortchanged a little bit because, we all, by the time it was over, even me, I was like, yo, I want more. Like we all forgot about the game for a little bit. Like even if you're a hard football fan, like you forgot about the game for a little bit because you're so wrapped up in that iconicness of that show. You're like, damn, I want more. So because there was so many artists, it felt like it wasn't long enough and it felt like we all needed more. But at the same time, they obviously can't go beyond like 10, 15 minutes. That's just how it goes. So I knew it was gonna feel, even before it happened, I knew it was gonna feel like hella short because there's like 5 artists performing. They all got hits for days and they only got like 15 minutes. So I already knew it was gonna feel that way. So I wasn't surprised that I felt that way when it was over. But that's a critique obviously that I wish they had either found a way to have had maybe less artists so we could focus on more hits from fewer artists. Or if we're gonna have that many artists, like maybe let's just us commit to having a longer halftime show. Like I don't know, but so that's the obvious critique that that's there, and I get that. But at the same time, I wasn't that mad at that at how they had like all those artists there because the lineup made complete sense, especially if you think about Dr. Dre being at the head of this thing, even though he's been having a lot of issues in the media recently, and I'm not gonna get into all that because I don't have the time for it right now, but besides all Dr. Dre's messiness, he really has been such an important figure in hip hop, and the artists that were there, they all make complete sense. And I wasn't mad that all those artists came out and did their thing because when you think about Dr. Dre especially, that lineup made complete sense, and I think maybe besides Kendrick Lamar, if we think about generationally, besides Kendrick, I think all those artists, they were all part of a certain generation and it worked. Mary, Snoop, 50, Dre, Eminem, like that was a generation. But Kendrick is the only one that's like newer, but they were all part of a generation that I feel like, and so I feel like the lineup worked and they're all connected to Dre, which is also another thing I want to mention that I think is amazing to think about. There's not a lot of people in the music industry like Dr. Dre who have a whole lineage of artists who are unto them, who he's either inspired or worked with as a mentor, as a producer. Like Dr. Dre is the thread that was woven between all those people who hit the stage. He's 50 Cent's mentor, and he's the one who who helped find 50 Cent, produced for him in the early days. He's Eminem's mentor, helped produce for him, and still to this day. He, Snoop Dogg's mentor, helped produce for him. He helped produce some hits for Mary J. Blige, including Family Affair and Not Today. And also he mentored Kendrick. And also he mentored Anderson .Paak, and he signed Anderson .Paak to his Aftermath label. Like, Dr. Dre really was the thread between every single artist that hit that stage that wasn't him, which I think is amazing to think about. And that's why, to me, even though it's a lot of artists, the lineup made complete sense because they're all connected to Dre. They all are in debt to Dre in some type of way for either being, a mentee of his or someone, or like Mary, like, he produced hits for her. Like, so I just think it worked out beautifully in that sense, And although every artist was only able to, really do like 1 or 2 songs max for the show, which kind of made it feel like it was shortchanged a little bit because, like I said before, they all have hits galore. At the end of the day, I still feel like I wasn't mad at it because I still love how it flowed, and I feel like they all picked like perfect songs to rep their catalog, so I wasn't too mad about it. And listen, even though I was cool with what they gave us, because like I said, we needed more, at this point, I'm gonna need a part 2 at an award show coming up this year, or maybe next year, or let's get into a tour. Like, what y'all think? Like, at this point, by the time the show ended, I was like, okay, that was fire, but now I'm gonna need a part 2. Like, we're gonna need this at an award show, or just we're gonna need the follow-up or the part 2 performance somewhere, whether that's at an award show or something, or at a tour. Like, I really think that's what we need. Let me know if y'all agree or not, but I think we need, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Kendrick, Snoop, Mary J. Blige. Maybe we can add like a few more names up in there, but we need a whole 90s, 2000s legends tour. Like, not even all of just them, maybe like a few more people. We need a whole tour. Like, cause the halftime really had me thinking like, this was lit, but yeah, I need more of this. Like, as a whole tour, as a whole, like, a whole thing. Like, they did a good job, but I need more. Like, I wasn't mad at what we got, but at this point, when it ended, I was like, yeah. I even said on Twitter, I was like, yeah, we need a part 2 or we need a tour. Like, let me know what y'all think. But at this point, if we don't get that, I'm gonna be really mad at all those artists that they didn't give us more of that. Because, come on, we need it. And also, I wanted to mention that I did notice a few lyric changes for some songs. I think particularly Kendrick's song, I think it was Alright, and I think Dr. Dre's songs too. I did notice some lyric changes, but at the end of the day, I'm not surprised because it's the NFL. But at the same time, like, NFL, y'all, come on, bro, it's whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that deep. But then again, I'm not surprised because it's the NFL. But yeah, those lyric changes I feel like weren't necessary. I feel like they could have just kept the original song structures of all those songs and not worried about all that. But at the end of the day, I'm not surprised because it's national TV and it's the NFL, so whatever. But alright, overall thoughts on each performer. I think for me, Dr. Dre, I thought obviously it's iconic how he was, like I said, he's the person that is the thread between all those artists. But I low-key needed more energy from him, especially at the beginning of the show. I feel like Dr. Dre just depended on his iconicness to like carry his performance energy. But I was like, Dr. Dre, I feel like he was just kind of like chilling at first. Like, he was just like, Dr. Dre, I'm here, like, oh, let's perform. Like, at the beginning when he did like, the next episode of California Love with Snoop, I feel like Snoop was just, Snoop giving energy, and Dre was just kind of like, he was just kind of there a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. Especially towards the end, I feel like Dre picked up towards the end, but I feel like at the beginning, I needed more energy from Dre. But it wasn't that deep. Dre did his thing, shout out to Dre. And then in terms of, for me, Eminem, I think Eminem to me wasn't the highlight musically, or he wasn't the highlight of the show. But he definitely wasn't bad. I think a lot of people wasn't really feeling Eminem. I think Eminem was fine. I don't think he was bad at all. But I also don't think he was a highlight as well. I think he was just there. He was cool. But he was just being Eminem. Like, what else do you want? He was being Eminem. But I thought he was fine. In terms of the kneel that he took, I appreciated it. I really appreciated him using his white privilege to do what he had to do. But I don't see his kneel really doing much for us moving the culture forward and us moving racial injustice forward. Like I said, I appreciate him using his white privilege and his platform to do what he had to do. But I don't see that really making much change in the world. Like, so, but I'm not mad he did it, but I just feel like it was something that people were talking about for a good minute these past few days. And I'm like, okay, he took a kneel, that was cool, but I don't see what that's really gonna do for, for all the black people that are living in the hood right now. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But whatever, I still appreciate Eminem doing it, but I don't think it was that as deep as everybody's making it seem, so that's just me. But I appreciate what he did, even though I don't think it'll shift things. But shout out to Eminem for, always being down for the cause since day one. Shout out to Eminem. You know what I'm saying? To me, the best, obviously, of the night were definitely Mary J. Blige and Kendrick. Mary J. Blige from the old school and Kendrick from the new school, man. They both showed up and showed out. You know, on the female side, on the male side, and on the R&B side, and on the hip hop side. I feel like they were the best of each side. Mary came through, rep for R&B, rep for the ladies, and then Kendrick came through and rep for hip hop and rep for the new generation. And I feel like he was the best rapper on that stage that night. Not just because he's the youngest, but also I just feel like he just felt like the hungriest. He felt like he had, I don't know, Kendrick always, as much as Kendrick is accomplished, he always comes on stage like he has something to prove, which I love. And that's why he's one of the best to do it, still to this day. Kendrick was definitely one of the best for me, as well as Mary. I love them. To me, they were two of the highlights of the show. You know, with them being back to back with each other, that was like the best part of the show right there. With them being back to back, I love that part. They killed it. Both of their energies was really like was crazy. Like you could just feel it was real for them. I loved it. Shout out to both of them. And shout out to 50 Cent for popping out the way he did Upside Down. He definitely wasn't one of the best for me, but he definitely did his thing. He wasn't bad at all. He did his thing. He's, you know, shout out to 50 Cent for just, you know, still having classic hits to this day. He definitely did his thing. And also, shout out to the Dogfather himself, Snoop Dogg, for just bringing the real, true vibes all night. Like, from beginning to end, every time he was on stage, he brought the vibes. Like, you know, Mary, Kendrick, they brought the music, you know what I'm saying? They brought the performance energy. You know, Dre, Eminem brought the hits, 50-50, they brought the hits. But Snoop Dogg brought, and that's another thing, Snoop Dogg didn't perform any of his solo hits, which I'm not realizing, I kind of wish he did perform something of his own. Like, he could have done, you know, Drop It Like It's Hot or something. Like, Snoop Dogg didn't perform, he didn't do any of his own songs. Besides that, Snoop Dogg brought the vibes the whole time. You know, just vibes. Like, who else is gonna crip walk on national television during the halftime show? Snoop Dogg, the Dogfather himself. Thank you, my guy, for crip walking on national television for everybody to see. I loved it. Amen. Yo, crip, yeah. Snoop Dogg about the vibes. We love it. He about the vibes. Amen. Snoop Dogg still to this day is probably one of the most famous rappers in the world, and he showed that like he literally is in a world of his own. He's living his own world, and we're all just in it with him. And that, you know, what else is there to say? Like, that shit is iconic to me. Like, he just, I don't know. Snoop Dogg out here repping crip, just vibes, crip walking, hits, you know, amazing career, hits galore, like, just crazy, amazing, man. And in terms of the overall look and feel of the actual show itself, although to me it would have been cool to see more like kinetic and moving parts of the actual like stage and show itself, like besides the camera and besides the blocking. Like the camera did a good job of like, you know, shifting things around and making it seem live, but in terms of the actual set design itself, even though I love the set design, like with like the house and the three-part thing, I loved it. I also kind of wish we had some like moving parts. I feel like it would have made it more dynamic. I don't know if they didn't really have that in the budget, or if they did, or if it made it too complicated. But I feel like it would have been dope to have, not if not the stage, at least have some other type of moving parts. Like besides the little like shadow of the stage part for when Eminem came on. Besides that, like I wish they had like something moving on the stage besides just the camera itself. But that's not a big deal. But that's just something I wish I personally wanted, but it wasn't a big deal for me. But yeah, but besides that, I really did appreciate. Come on, we gotta give it to the band. I gotta give it to the band. I really appreciate the band. Adam Blackstone. I'm not sure if the whole BBE band was there with him, but Adam Blackstone was there on guitar doing his thing. One of the most famous and one of the best musical directors of like big award shows and big, you know, big performances. And Adam Blackstone, he definitely killed it. And I just love the whole band in general. They were killing it. The musical arrangements were pretty dope for the most part. And also, I gotta give love to the motherfucking dancers. The dancers were, honestly, besides the artists, to me, the dancers were the highlight of the show. From beginning to end, the dancers murked that thing. I'm talking about like every song like that had dancers that you know that were visible clearly. They killed it. Who choreographed it? I think I heard that Fatima Robinson choreographed it. I'm not sure if Fatima or somebody else, but I'm pretty sure Fatima choreographed. Listen, Fatima, if that was you that choreographed that shit, you killed it. If it wasn't you, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to whoever did if it wasn't her, but I think I heard that was Fatima Robinson. That choreography for every song, it was amazing. Like, just good gutter, you know, just, I don't know, just good movement. Like, every count, like, hit where it was supposed to hit. Everything just came off so dope. And I love how they all interact with the artists. Like, yeah, the female dancers, the male dancers, they all killed it. I wasn't sure how I felt about all the guy dancers that were, like, in, like, the hood. You know what I'm talking about? Like the hood LA outfits, like, with the, I don't know how to describe it. You know what I'm talking about. I didn't know how I felt about that. But besides that costuming, I thought for the most part the dancers killed it. The energy was on point. They better have gotten paid because they all showed up and showed out. Do you hear me? Listen, the dancers, y'all better have gotten paid because I know we hear reports of the dancers like being promised that they wouldn't get paid, or there was reports of like the NFL like trying to hire dancers without promising them payment. And I was like, what? Y'all got more than enough money. Stop playing games. But yeah, the dancers, I hope y'all got paid because y'all did what y'all had to do. Y'all showed up and y'all showed out. The dancers, to me, was one of the highlights of the show. Everybody killed it. Honestly, as much as I love the artists, as much as I was going for the artists, like during the show, I low-key was going for the dancers. Like, the artists doing the thing, but I was like, when the dancers were killing, I was like, yes, mama. I was like, okay, my guys, see you. Like, I was going for the dancers. Like, the dancers were killing it. The energy was crazy. Shout out to the dancers. They did a thing. I loved it. Oh, it was so good to see them doing that thing. They killed it, man. Shout out to the dancers. Listen, man, that's pretty much my thoughts on the show. I definitely think this is a top 10, maybe not a top 5. I think it's a top 5 halftime show for sure. If not top 5, definitely top 10 halftime shows of all time. I loved it. Beyonce's still number 1 in my book. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Shout out to Prince. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Janet and and what she did before y'all did the most. You know what I'm saying? But for me, this is definitely one of my favorites as well. They killed it. All that iconicness on stage. It was everything, y'all. They killed this. And besides the great love that LA was able to get for the night with the Rams win and with Dre, Snoop, and Kendrick repping for the city. Besides that, I also just want to end off by saying that the halftime show was so great to me because it was another great reminder for the new generation of artists and the new generation of just kids who are who are watching to really be able to see what it looks like to be and to really strive for having true, authentic, timeless, classic, and intergenerational hits that actually still resonate, years later, and that still hold up and still rock and still just go crazy years later. To see Mary J. Blige, Dre, Snoop, Eminem, and 50 Cent perform all these hits that are decades, years old, but they still sound fresh to this day. Everyone can still sing every word to this day. You still get a whole stadium hype to this day with those songs. I love seeing that, and I think that's what I really want all the kids and all the new generation of artists to really take from the show. Besides how lit it was, I want y'all to take that from the show because I feel like a lot of this new generation, I feel like a lot of people are really focused on longevity and really obtaining and really having like real hits. I feel like everyone is really invested in like microwave hits, songs that'll sound dope today, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, are they gonna sound lit? Are they gonna be as dope and as relevant, as lit as they are now? Probably not. But those artists really showed us, and many halftime shows have done this before, but especially this one in particular, with that group of artists, it was just great to see them showing this new generation how to maintain longevity with hits that that didn't define a generation. Or maybe they did define generation, but they still sound good in a different generation. They still sound good in a different time, and they still hold up and they still go off. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I really want, the new generation of artists to really pick up from the show, and that's what I really want everyone to remember from the show, because that's really the most important part, is the fact that Dr. Dre was able to have a legacy where he was able to get all those artists to get under him, or he helped them out in some type of way. And all the artists by themselves just who gave us these hits for years and years and years and still giving us hits. So it's just like, yeah, it's amazing, man. That's really my favorite part of the show, I think, was me just seeing all that power, all those hits just being presented in one place. It was amazing. Especially during Black History Month. Perfect. Loved it. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl 56 halftime show. I don't think I have anything else more to say. I think for me, it was definitely like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I loved it. It wasn't perfect, but it definitely was an amazing show, and I loved what it gave to the world. It was a great moment, man. It was a blessing. Loved it, y'all. Loved it. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Thank you. I appreciate y'all. And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke. If you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song. You can feel it, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. Alright, y'all, this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit, you don't gotta worry, you can just